I call to order the meeting.
Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Cardoza.
Present.
Chair Miller. Commissioner Green.
Present.
Commissioner Bunch has an excused absence. Commissioner Bartholomew.
Present.
Commissioner Larson.
Present.
And Commissioner Cochran.
Present.
I'm Skylar Bailey. Welcome.
Stacy Bartholomew.
Kenny Larson.
So just make sure you guys speak into your microphones because it is hard to hear when you're listening to the recording if you don't. So
Kenny Larson. Is that
yeah,
better?
no, it was everybody. It's
Okay.
easy just to be step back, but if you don't hear like me through the microphone, it probably didn't get picked up. But we wanted to do that, so thank you.
Rest of the staff. Did you
And
already-
Ron is online.
Yes. Can you hear my audio?
Yes.
Yeah, welcome, Tammy. Tammy, you could explain your background. Nobody else did, but she has city experience from the city of Hillsborough, and including my favorite CDBG experience, which is killing me right now. So yes, yeah.
Anything else you want us to know about you, Tammy?
Well, I've been in Albany for 6 months, but lived in Lebanon for 4 years, so made my way here. Very happy to live in Albany, and it's just a pleasure and an honor to be on the commission. I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
And we now have the approval of the December 16, 2024 minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes.
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passed. Do we have to read the business for the public? Is that anybody here?
Yeah, I mean, since there's no one here, I think we can skip that item.
Just say
There's nobody online?
Well, there's actually one person just signed in.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh,
We'll read it then. So persons wanting to provide comments may email written comments to cdaa@albany.oregon.gov, including your name before noon on the day of the meeting. To comment virtually during the meeting, register by emailing cdaa@albany.oregon.gov before noon on the day of the meeting with your name. The chair will call upon those who have registered to speak. Appear in person at the meeting, please register to speak. Anybody interested? From the public? Okay, we'll now go into public hearing, planning CP, planning file CP-03-24, legislative changes to the comprehensive plan type 4-L, legislative process. In summary, staff proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan to refresh content from adopted city facility plans and master plans and adopt additional facility and master plans as supporting documents of the comprehensive plan. So we're now on to our legislative public hearing regarding the plan. Have all commission members received a copy of the agenda packet materials, and are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I call to order this legislative public hearing at 5:19 p.m. So if you wish to, if you wish to testify, there were 2 options available, which were described on the agenda. So at this time, I call for the reading of the meeting procedures from Ann Caitlin.
Thank you. For all of those invisible people in the audience that want to testify, please be aware that you must raise an issue with enough detail to afford the Planning Commission and parties an opportunity to respond to the issue if you later want to raise that issue on appeal. Testimony and evidence must be directed towards the approval standards staff will describe or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or development code that you believe apply to the decision. And if additional documents or evidence are provided by any party, the Planning Commission may allow a continuance or leave the record open to allow parties a reasonable opportunity to respond. So, and
At this time, I call for the staff report from Project Planner Liz Olmsted.
Okay. So, as you know, I'm Liz Olmsted with the Community Development Department. So we're here tonight to talk about comprehensive plan amendments for planning file CP03-24, which is a comprehensive plan refresh. So the purpose of these amendments is to refresh content from adopted facility and master plans and adopt other facility and master plans as supporting documents that were not in the comprehensive plan already. This is just kind of an overview of the updates we're making, but update and remove outdated content. So through various chapters, there's outdated information such as data about economic development and transportation and statistics. And our historic preservation section was outdated. So we're just making updates to those so they're current with the have in place. We're also making minor clarifications to existing content. We're just kind of updating so we remove redundant content that's in the plan, as well as making a few little grammar changes and spelling errors. The next is to adopt facility and master plans as supporting documents. There were some facility and master plans that were adopted after we last updated this comprehensive plan. So there's actually 5 facility plans and master plans that we are proposing to adopt as a supporting document to the comp plan, which you'll see in your packet. So up here on the screen is the table of contents. It just shows how each chapter is situated in the comprehensive plan. So each chapter contains things in natural resources as wetlands or riparian corridors, special areas as historic preservation, and so on. In your packet, you'll see it's described what each of the chapters, the overall purpose of each chapter is.
what, we just forgot to include this in the packet, and what is in your packet are only the chapters where updates were needed. It's not inclusive of the entire comprehensive plan, and I just realized it dawned on me that you might want to know that, but you guys may have already looked at the comp plan on the website, so I don't know.
So there's certain criteria that need to be addressed when you're updating the comprehensive plan. The first one is citizen involvement. We have publicly noticed DLCD and the community about these changes. We also met with each department to talk about their sections of the comprehensive plan, and they were a large part of making these updates. So each department actually made the updates for their chapter, and then we made the updates for our land urbanization chapters.
I'll just add that each of the facility plans had their own public input process, which is why this didn't have a robust public input process, because those occurred when all those facility plans, such as the Parks Master Plan, you may have participated in some of those public engagement opportunities. So this is really we should have had these plans adopted right after they were adopted by the city into the comprehensive plan, but we just haven't had staff capacity, and we're just trying to get caught up. So
And as you can see in your packet, there's also many other goals that these comprehensive plan amendments address. So we just want to make sure to include all the goals that were affected by these updates. So criterion 2 is a legislative amendment is needed to meet changing conditions or new laws. So as I said before, we're updating the comprehensive plan to be current with the new data that's available from these master plans and other agencies. And then just to make sure that we address the changing conditions and laws that are out there. So as you know, this is a type 4 legislative process. The Planning Commission makes a recommendation to City Council, and City Council is the final decision maker. And we wanted to let you know that there is a motion on the dais. There were some little things that you guys caught, misspellings in the code, and we really appreciate that. And we'll make sure to correct those before City Council. So you don't need to include them in the motion.
Yeah, but what is on your dais is, I noticed supporting documents in one of the chapters on page 3-18, which is, I can't remember what, I think it's page 39 of your packet. Inadvertently, it's in the economic development chapter, inadvertently got struck out, and they should not be. So the motion includes a correction to what's in your packet to keep those as supporting documents in the plan. It was an oversight. I just happened to catch it today. Yes, so that's included in the motion on the dais.
Do any commission members have any clarifying questions for staff? Go ahead.
So I was noticing a lot of the information was prior to 2020 in the comprehensive plan. And I was just wondering if there were more up-to-date like charts and data that could be used, or are we just going to go with that because it was started back in 2020?
So we were just trying to update the plan with existing data from existing facility plans. We didn't have capacity to go in and, like, for the housing chapter, for example, or the economic development chapter, to go in and find the data which was prepared by consultants and try to update that in some cases. We are planning to do a complete overhaul of the comprehensive plan to align with the city's strategic planning process over the next year or two, because this document is really, really dated. It is from the 1980s, and really a lot of the data was still from the 1980s. We're just trying to keep it usable because we rely on this plan for certain types of land use changes. And so if we don't have accurate data and we have to rely our decisions on data in the plan, it's really important that we at least have the latest facility plan information here. But we hope that we'll have a more streamlined, user-friendly document that reflects maybe a new vision or goals of the city, might be reorganized, et cetera. But, and also as facility plans are updated, we will make sure that those departments come through this process and add that to the comprehensive plan and update their applicable chapter. We just had several years of no staffing, and things just were rogue, happening, and like, hey guys, we need to get this in the comp plan, but it really hasn't been until now, even though I feel like we're busier than ever with being short-staffed. But we wanted to do this because it is so dated, because it will take a little while to do a completely new comprehensive plan. Yeah, and we're sort of out of compliance without having these facility plans incorporated into the comprehensive plan. But good question. We just didn't have time to update everything to the current, but we're just trying to base it on existing plans. Yep.
Yeah, because I noticed that you mentioned that in the TPS, that it's going to be updated. So in specific, but I just was asking more generally for the rest of it. So thank you.
Good question.
Go ahead, Karen.
So far as the South Albany area and the Oak Creek area, it says each neighborhood will be connected to community focal point. I was just wondering, what is that? Is that like a park or a store, or what's it going to be connected to? What is the focal point?
Well, I'm sorry, I haven't looked at, what page are you on for, do you have a page? So we do have some area plans that were, South Albany area plan was adopted in 2012, it's dated, but the idea was that, that we have sort of complete communities and that it isn't maybe just all housing and all jobs over here, but that we are trying to provide connectivity to whether it's a park or other amenities that would be provided within the area. We know we need to go through and update some of these area plans. One of the things we haven't been able to do is go through and go, ooh, we have some implementation strategies. Are we, meaning the city and the community overall, actually implementing these strategies that were identified to help make these areas what the vision was at the time? But I mean, that's a really good question. Right now, it's out of context for me without going back through and really looking at the plan. I mean, I could go back and provide you an answer, offline. I mean, that's a good question, but right now I didn't have time to read through the packet, unfortunately, before the meeting to be up to date with everything that's currently in the conference plan, but.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Question, anybody else have questions for staff? Please.
I don't know if anybody else brought it up, but on page 84 of the packet, let me get there. The Parks and Recreation, there's lots to have fun with there. Okay, the city's current repair and replacements, just that paragraph.
Yeah, I see that paragraph. So
Backlog exceeds 10,000 and is estimated to grow by at least 100,000 annually. So I think that first number might be a little low. Is that correct?
we'll have to look at the numbers that were provided to us from Kim, but we can check that before the council packet. And there were 3 typos that I appreciate our eagle eyes, Joanne and Tammy, noticing that we'll correct, but that was not one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a typo or not. I don't have my master plan in front of me to know, but we can look into that number.
Thank you. It just seems a little low.
I didn't see that.
Maybe it should be 100,000 and not 10,000. We'll have to check that.
Yeah, I
yeah.
looked at it as the backlog exceeds 10,000 with the estimated growth of 100,000. That's where it currently is at. So,
Right.
but I didn't think it was a typo. Maybe it is, but I didn't think it was.
We'll have to look at what was provided to us from the Parks Department, and then I can just verify that number, see whether we made a lot of corrections on grammar and things like that, and typos from stuff that we caught that we received from departments, but we'll check this number with the Parks Director.
Anything else for staff? One more, go ahead.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to say that I think that it is great the way that the parks are making the apparatus more inclusive.
Yeah.
So that all the kids can join in and have fun.
Yes, they are trying to make sure all of the equipment is accessible and sensory, I think. Yeah.
Mhm. I did notice that Grand Prairie Park, which is my park, was not listed in their plan, but it might be okay. It does have basketball courts, it has bathroom, but the sink needs to be fixed in the kitchen.
So the good news is that by adopting all of these master plans into the plan, this is just a summary of data that came out of those plans. So we're really allowing ourselves to use the data, the details from those plans when we need to, when we're analyzing land use applications. So we're just trying to pull out a summary. A lot of cities don't even have this background summary. I mean, it's really just more visions, goals, and policies. And we didn't want to tinker with the format of our plan. We just wanted to refresh it. And then we'll figure out, well, what might a new plan look like for today's times with this next bigger overhaul, which would involve a lot of public input. So that would be from all of you as well as the whole community.
Might be a conversation for offline or something, but I guess I still don't understand the logic on how much money we spent on Timberland Park, only for the parks to be locked and nobody to use them unless it's, through like Corvallis or something, especially like the softball fields.
Those are questions for the Parks Department. I mean, this is, like I say,
offline.
it's not, I'm not going to be able, you can just send Kim Ledane an email directly. We have budget issues. I mean, there's parks maintenance and then, access. And I mean, there's a lot of challenges with ability to maintain service levels and facilities.
So this part that we're doing is sort of a preliminary to help us get ready to do a full comprehensive review.
Yeah.
Of the comprehensive review of the comprehensive plan.
Correct. I mean, really, what we hope is that, so the city has a strategic plan, which is really a short-term, medium-term, 2 to 4 year plan. It should be based on the comprehensive plan. We're trying to tie the two documents together, but it's also a time, we haven't had a citywide, we've had area plans, but we haven't had a, who do we want to be when we grow up, or how do we address some of the challenges that we're facing today that are different than they were in the 80s. And, some of the strategic plan themes like great neighborhoods, healthy economy, safe, whatever. I mean, they're kind of timeless, but, are there other big goals and issues we need to be talking about and addressing? Because in the end, everything happens on dirt that is zoned a certain way that we have to figure out how to plan for, whether moving people around safely, even the fire and police folks. I mean, where their facilities are located so that they can reach where population is growing, where the jobs are and the chemicals or whatever. I mean, so I'm hoping that we'll end up with a comprehensive look by all departments and, but also the community and bringing in issues that aren't even talked about in this plan. I'm just talking out loud some thoughts, and we don't know what the end product will be, but we just know that we've been hobbling along with this version of a plan for a really long time. And it's working for the most part, but I feel like it shouldn't just be sitting on a shelf. Can this be actually a plan for the city that's a longer range plan? And then the city council's strategic plan helps implement some of the visions in that. And it will bring awareness to things going on throughout the city back into all the departments and the city council and the community.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Okay, since there's no audience to ask if they have any public testimony, I will move if there's anyone virtually who would like to speak. If you would, turn on your camera, raise your hand, and it'll be called on by the chair, and unmute yourself. They're not raising their hand? Okay. Okay, so we don't have any members of the audience to speak about the application. And the staff, do you have any other comments or to respond to what we've been discussing? Heard.
I just want to say that, like the comprehensive plan says, it's fluid. It's a 20-year plan, so it's bound to morph and adjust. But it is a basis for what we're going to do.
Moving on, does anyone have procedural questions they would like to raise at this time? If so, please raise your hand to be called upon, or if you are attending by phone, please unmute yourself and state your name so the chair can call on you to speak. Well, I declare this public hearing closed at 5:40 p.m. Does the Planning Commission wish to discuss these amendments or ask questions of any more questions of staff? So do I hear a motion? Go ahead.
I move that Planning Commission recommend that the City Council approve the proposed comprehensive plan text amendments under Planning File CP 0324 with one correction to Chapter 3 on pages 3 through 18 to retain the supporting documents. This motion is based on findings and conclusions in the January 23rd, 2025 staff reports and finding in support of the applications made during deliberations on the matter.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. The motion carries. All righty. Any business from the commission? No? Any staff updates?
Well, we do have some meeting dates coming up. I was just going to explain those to you. So March 3rd, we'll have a joint work session with the City Council to talk about FEMA requirements and climate-friendly area changes. So we do have one planning commissioner that hasn't yet to be appointed. Hopefully they'll be appointed before that meeting, but I'll make sure everybody is up to speed with the climate-friendly area requirements from state law before that meeting. The March 17th meeting would actually be the public hearing on those amendments. So it's really, really busy. We are short-staffed in planning, so apologies for, I have not had time to barely read any words, but we do appreciate your eagle eye because we're just sort of under a lot of workload, and it's the legislative session. So just with that, there's a lot of stuff being proposed at the state level. We keep informed as best as we can through the League of Oregon Cities and then on our own and through residents. I did want to say, I meant to ask Matthew about this before, but regarding middle housing, happens to be Tammy got a nice email right when she got appointed from residents of North Albany about concerns of middle housing. There are certainly some bills in the legislature related to middle housing. It's just kind of an ongoing thing. The governor's office has got a housing production advisory council, doesn't have any city representation. There's more changes. It's just kind of a deluge. But if you were to be contacted by residents, I mean, it's certainly fine to hear their information. Please make sure to forward that information to city staff. It's really helpful. As you may remember, and we'll have a training coming up, I think at the end of this month, this was a legislative hearing, which was staff initiated. It's a citywide impact. And in those cases, you're actually able to talk to residents about these changes. It's not the same as in a quasi-judicial hearing where we're really property specific. While you could talk to somebody, you have to disclose all those conversations as ex-parte contacts, and we would kind of discourage you from having them. But you can always talk to staff about any type of land use process. So if you have questions or you've heard concerns in the community, we're happy to talk about anything that comes before you, or even if there's something going on in your neighborhood, just contact us. We just want to make sure that we're informed of any conversations that you may have, had that relate to land use on the ground, just so that of course you can, talk to people. I mean, that's your job is to be our ears, your ears on the street and your counselors' ears, but it is helpful for us to know, we're trying to avoid surprises, and also we're trying to plan and respond to the community as best as we can. We held a meeting with the North Albany Neighborhood Association folks, for example, a couple weeks ago about things. And so, if you see that there might be a need for that, we're trying to do our best to do that. But we do appreciate you guys serving, and then, we'll get a refresher on what the roles and responsibilities are in each of those settings, quasi-judicial and legislative being different, at the training coming up. And then it was about a year ago, a little less than a year ago that we did that. David and I kind of did we can send those slides back out just as a reminder. You guys are all doing a good job. No one's in trouble or anything, but it was just kind of like, oh yeah, a reminder that we've got, it just so happened, this was a great example that, Tammy knew, hey, I'm going to forward this on to planning staff so we're aware of what the issues are, because something could come up that is related to a quasi-judicial hearing. And so we need to do a good job, a better job of informing the public also of what's appropriate, so that you guys aren't put into awkward situations. So if you have any concerns or issues like that, just contact us. We'll try to do our best to help navigate through the process and make sure that you guys aren't put into uncomfortable positions. So that's it.
Thank you.
And you said that there was a lot of state mandates coming down the pipeline. Did you mean so far as FEMA, climate change, or both?
Well, there are a lot of changes to the middle housing that are being proposed in the legislature. And some of them are, we've identified a lot of changes that we don't feel are, we've done a lot of changes that we feel are needed. Like, we don't think it was ever intended to be a tool for just blanket greenfield development. We thought it was intended as infill development. So the way the law is written now, it can apply on any vacant lot, right? But because all the cities are providing comments in, and you're hearing from the whole state about middle housing, we don't know what's going to end up coming down the pipeline, which means we'll have to adopt, to amend our code. There'll be lots of probably code changes. Now, the FEMA related changes are federal and state. It's related to the Oregon specific issues are related to salmon protection. Anyway, there are more protections now, or requirements of development in floodplains, having to be up out of the floodplain. We had to determine a path by December 1st. The staff went to the city council for, there's a model code that we could adopt, or we have to require a habitat assessment with each application that is on property that's in the floodplain. Now, we're limited to like 400 properties that are in the floodplain, but this has an impact. But properties that are in the floodplain have to have flood insurance, and our regulations directly affect those flood insurance rates. So we get rated every year based on the standards that we have in our code, so that they get a discount. It's kind of complicating, but what is the city's path moving forward to comply with the new FEMA regulations? That will be what you'll talk about or hear about on May 3rd.
March 3rd.
I meant March 3rd.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay.
March 3rd.
All righty. Well, thank you, staff, and thanks for the information. And if there's no other comments, the meeting is adjourned at 5:49.
Thank you.